I'm the Israeli user group leader, and I'm also, as my day job, I'm director of vertical products at WalkMe. WalkMe builds on-site guidance system, meaning it can help you navigate within the system and help you walk through different processes and etc. And in addition, I'm a Salesforce MVP, which is part of the reasons that I'm here, to help everyone build a lean, mean sales machine, which is kind of catchy phrase, but let's talk about what exactly does it mean to build a lean, mean, inside sales machine. So let's start with the basics just to make sure that we're aligned. What's inside sales, or what is the difference between sales and inside sales? Anyone who wants to? Yes?
Inside sales don't leave the office.
Yeah, exactly. Inside sales basically don't leave the office. They are constantly within the office, and there's no need for formal dressing. There's no need for field agents. And the way that they work is through online meetings, lots of emails, and lots of phones. So this is basically our top-notch sales guy. I mean, I'm not kidding. He can close millions of dollars from within chair. Usually, you would see him with shorts, a T-shirt, usually something that he grabbed at a festival of some kind, and that's it. But he does it, and how does he make it work to actually close a deal of tens of thousands of dollars without ever meeting the client, the customer, or the prospect, or whatever you want to call? Well, he can do that with our help. I mean, probably he could do that on his own, but the way we can help them, that's one of the reasons that I love my job. Because no matter how we call ourselves, either it's a Salesforce admin, business operations, sales ops, or some other titles that I've heard among it, what we do is we try to identify how to help these guys to be more productive at their work. And the real value that we bring, that we see with every single thing we do, we impact their life. They can work better. They can achieve more. They can reach the goals better just by the way that we work. So what are we going to do? First thing, no matter where you are, even if you're a developer or an admin, the first thing you need to do is to understand how the sales process flows. True, it's almost always the same. It starts the same. It's leads, opportunities, proposal or quotes, and a close won or a close lost. That's the basics. However, since we work with a beautiful system named Salesforce, we know that even when we switch from one company to another, there's a whole new flows that we need to implement, or actually different variations of the same flow. And we need to identify the different variations to actually make the adjustments, to make the system fit as best as we can to help them be as productive as they can. So we know the basics. We know that it's leads, opportunities, proposal. But what we need to understand is to identify the key performance indicators or the key KPIs. What I found the biggest question, usually when working, especially with B2B companies, within B2B companies, is, okay, a lead. We got a lead. But what is a lead? A lead is a marketing qualified lead. A lead is a sales qualified lead. What's the difference between marketing qualified lead and sales qualified lead? That's basically, if you start at the beginning of the funnel, then you understand that actually this transition is a process. It has its own process. How you get the leads, that's the marketing job. They get the lead, they grab them, they buy lists, they promote campaigns on Facebook, Twitter, no matter where they do. They bring in the leads. That's the marketing job. But what the sales department job is to convert them. And to actually make them into opportunities, it's a brand new process or a subset of the process within it. When you break it down into different parts, then you understand that this thin line here is actually an entire process that somebody is researching about this lead. He's actually grabbing information. He's contacting them and decides if to nurture them or actually to proceed with the process and then to convert them. And then they actually become opportunities. Usually in companies like Salesforce or within WAPME, this flow is being handled by a department called the sales dev department. This is the beginning of the funnel. It's just when a lead comes within from the marketing department, and then he starts. So doing the research, contacting them, and converting them is basically is filtering out and all the noise that you have within the system, all the non-really important people that have called. And if you can actually fine-tune this process, then the rest of the funnel becomes much, much easier. So because we've understand that the conversion between lead to an opportunity is a process, we need actually to define what is a lead, a sales qualified lead. A sales qualified lead, from what I've learned from the companies that I worked for, is someone who is actually a decision maker, that you can actually talk with him about the proposal you have, that is relevant, that the proposal you have is actually fit, and that they have something that they need, or that your product fits within a specific time frame. Now, since we are in Salesforce, we know it's a process that we need to track. So what we've done, we've created an intro call object, or that's basically the start of the funnel. That's the turning point. That's the place where we decide if it's a marketing qualified lead or a sales qualified lead. Marketing qualified lead, it's someone who's relevant and I'm going to nurture. Sales qualified lead is someone who I actually want to talk to, and there is a coherent and there is a current process that needs to get done. So the intro call, that's basically a Salesforce custom object that helps us track and identify which are the leads that come. We have the time of the call. We have the subject. Of course, this is an amazing intro call. And then we actually track down, because everything we do, we can report with as easily as we can in Salesforce. So the intro call object is connected both to leads, and then when it converts, it also connects to the opportunity. But when a lead comes, the SD, the sales dev guy, actually decides if he's relevant. If he is relevant, then he creates the intro call. And if the intro call is qualified, then it's actually being converted into an opportunity. What we do is we track it down. Why we track it down? As Mr. Peters said, you need data to understand what you're working on, and you need to find the proper data to actually understand where you're aiming for. So what we did, we created the intro call, and we also created reports to actually measure this KPI. If someone is qualified, that means then they open an opportunity. No-show, that's something that we need to be aware of. Sometimes you schedule a call, and they don't show up, then you need to reschedule, etc. And rejects, meaning that even though the sales guy got on a call with them, they decided no, the sales dev guy didn't quite get who's he talking to, or there's numerous reasons why it could be rejected and canceled. They decided not to proceed with us. So we understood the funnel. Basically, we understood that there's the basic funnel, and we have the intro call to help them. But then I'm going back to the basic question that I asked at the beginning. How can we, as Salesforce admin, sales ops, or business operations can help them. The easiest way to do that is to identify the funnel and then to actually find what they're doing on a daily basis, what they're doing in a repetitive way, what kind of things we can actually make them work better, and they're doing all kinds of things that are not relevant to actually make them more successful. For example, dialing, I mean, that's old school. That's like, that's 10 years. You can actually connect the dialer to your CRM, to Salesforce specifically. You have a lot of different vendors, and with the click of a button, they're calling them. That's mainly I would use this tool for the sales dev department. Again, the duplicate checker, there's out-of-the-box mechanism of Salesforce that can do that, but there's a lot of different products that can help that to identify, are we already working on this opportunity because they're coming from the same company or a different division, or actually it's the same person and that has registered several times. Another thing is, of course, lead scoring. Since you're working within the office, you need to make the most out of your time. You don't want to call someone who's actually not relevant. Lead scoring and is also connected to data enrichment. Both of them go hand in hand. If you enrich the data, then you have more data that you can actually filter on. And then when you have more data that you can filter on, you can build kind of smart algorithms, not exactly AIs, but you can identify patterns to where you can call them. So that lead scoring, that can help you identify more about the persons you want to know. Again, there are several tools for lead scoring. What I found best is not to actually show the score to the sales guys. I mean, if I'm giving a score of 85 versus 87 to a lead, what exactly does it mean? It means that my algorithm thought that this lead was better because if one has a VP title and the other has a director title. However, the director level could be on a large enterprise account that I want to work on, and the VP level was in a small startup with 15 people that basically out of the 15 employees they have, 10 of them has a VP title, which actually happens quite a lot. Yeah, that's so once we know what we can do.
So, quick question.
Yes, sir.
You said that you don't reveal the scores, so.
What we've done, we've decided to bucket them up into different levels, meaning the A leads are the ones with above 80. The ones with 70, and what we found best is that you should keep that to 4 different levels, so not to confuse them and not to actually create again a different system that they would think, oh, this is an E lead, so what's the difference between E and D? And also what we've done again, we actually decided that after we ran a few months of trial, we actually got to a conclusion that our algorithm was good enough and that we're not calling D leads and they're automatically being pulled to lead nurturing automatically, unless something happens. They reply to one of the automatic emails that we're sending within the lead nurturing programs, but we try to make them as efficient as we can. And also, what we've done regarding this specific lead scoring is that whenever a sales guy feels that he's running out of leads, then we actually created a small AppEx button that when you click it, it's called get leads, and then you get, if you think that you don't have enough leads, you're getting from this huge bucket that are actually leads that we identify that aren't worth calling, but maybe we're wrong, maybe we missed an opportunity. So they have a click of a button and they are getting towards the name between 10 to 20 leads, depending on the algorithm and their workload. This is, by the way, when I mentioned the dialer, I think that the dialer, the automatic dialing system that we said, is basically a must. This is the first dialer that I actually created this within the system, and we didn't purchase any third-party algorithm or a vendor, even though now there are a few good ones. This dialer I did in 2010. Basically, it identifies the country that they're calling from, and then it's automatically pulling, giving a local number to the sales guy. So when he calls the prospect, they think he's calling from within the country or within the specific state. And also, we did it in a way that they can actually change it on their own. I mean, even though we identify it's 312, they can actually change it. Why? I don't know. Maybe they thought that, okay, I don't know Illinois very well. I can't actually talk about things over there. So they're changing it to a Boston zip code, and they're calling them. What we've actually found that just saving the dialing mechanism, we've doubled the number of leads that we're reaching out per day. I mean, just by adding automatic systems, and it doesn't have to be as I mentioned, it doesn't have to be the super brand. Just, by the way, since then we've no longer using the dialer that I created due to maintenance and everything, but we bought a third-party tool, an AppExchange that does that. There are several tools that are beautiful. We actually ran 3 different cycles for that until we hooked up with one of them. Another thing that is really easy to do from a Salesforce point of view is automatic emailing. We know when we're going to have the intro call, or what we've mentioned as the converter between the marketing qualified and the sales qualified. So just to eliminate the no-shows, we've added a simple workflow that just the day before, it sends them, hi, I'm going to send tomorrow, we're meeting at 10 a.m., the 17th. I'll be prepared. Please tell me no. And what we found out is that people actually do respond to that. This is one of the responses that we've got. I mean, people actually not all people, yeah. Not all people are actually thinking ahead, especially when something happens to them, and this is real. This is. By the way, the previous slide was the real email that he got, and this is the real response that we got. I just eliminated the name of the few people here. But this is real. They're actually, when something bad happens to you and you want to eliminate the no-shows, or you don't think about your schedule the next day. However, if you get an email, hey, we scheduled a meeting tomorrow. Can you, if there is any issue, please come back to me. Then we saw a decrease in the numbers of no-shows. In data enrichments, there are plenty of tools. One of them is, of course, data.com that can help you enrich the data, and then you can identify who are exactly the decision makers within the company, and you should aim for the decision makers as the sales, or you should guide your sales team to aim for the decision makers if that's relevant. And just, again, to say what we're looking at. We're looking at a way to make the sales department be more productive. And the way to make it work is to find repetitive, time-consuming actions that don't actually benefit the sales process. I mean, they do benefit the sales process, but they're kind of, the sales guys are good people, but they want to be focused on sales. They don't want to log every call. They don't want to log every email. So let's help them. let's help them. Let's connect their email inbox to Salesforce. That automatically it searches and finds and logs the emails that they send out. There are also a few tools, third party, that does that. Implicit, that was purchased by Salesforce and now is part of Salesforce Beta Gmail Connect. There are, I've forgotten the names, but there are a lot of tools that can do that can help you hook the emails to the specific prospect opportunity, and that actually saves a lot of time. Of course, the easiest way for us to do is writing templates. We already know after looking and working with the sales guys that there are just a numerous responses, or there is a certain flow to the conversation. So helping them understand the templates, actually building the templates, and then helping them master the use of templates, that's also important, because sales guys, they know how to sell. They don't actually know how to use the system. So we need to help them use the system and make use of templates. Reminders, we've talked about data entry, lead scoring, research, data enrichment, we've talked about it. And basically, that's about it. Another thing that I just want to highlight is that we as admins, we look at problems and we solve them. That actually, I did a transition about 6 months ago in my position from being in charge of the internal operations to a product manager position. And because we've decided that a few things that we've built internally are actually good, and we can actually ship them out as products. So what I want to tell you is that the things that we do are actually make an impact. And not only that, they can make an impact quite rapidly and can evolve to things that you haven't thought about when you just started. So any questions? That's it.